Good morning. I want to speak for a moment about the recent arrest of white supremacist members in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So there was a pride event taking place in the city, evidently, and evidently these 31 members of a white supremacist group named Patriot Front were going to go down there. They had riot gear and matching uniforms, and they were going to attack the people. They arrested, mostly got misdemeanors, but they had, what got me was the amount of sophistication. Because people always joke when people talk about like revolution, white supremacists, dominionists. We always joke about meal team six and gravy force, and like how all these guys are real fat and obese, and that all that obese. We always joke about that. This case shows you the opposite. And I think it's important to take a second and recognize this. You have to put this in context. We just had the Buffalo shooting a couple weeks ago. Young man drove 200 miles to kill innocent civilians in a mostly black community in Buffalo. He had a rifle, bulletproof vest, and wrote white supremacist stuff on his rifle. His reparations and the N-word. Same thing with this. This was a white supremacist attack, and it concerns me because we have all this talk now from preachers, from ministers out here about killing gay people and things of that nature. One thing that concerns me about all this, they had a handbook in the U-Haul. They drove up there. The U-Haul was they had all the guys in the back. The book they had said something about, what was it? Proportionate something to force or something. It concerns me these groups are becoming almost like law enforcement tactics. When they went into January 6th, into the Capitol, and they had their arms on each other's shoulders. That's SWAT tactics. Whether it was that, whether it's this now with the books, whether it's with the riot gear, whether it's with the equipment, whether it's with the gear. I mean, I watched the policemen at the Capitol. They had a guy that was in full riot gear, and he was beating the police with a police baton. And it concerns me that this is they're basically like serving as the police. They're like, we're gonna do what you guys can't do. That's what I think in my mind. That's what I thought then. And going down there with riot gear to attack a group like that, for one thing, it's cowardly because they're doing their thing. They're not bothering you. You're going out there with equipment and gear to attack peaceful people. That's cowardly. That was my first mindset. You got guns. You're a coward. You're a punk. But I remember when I first started getting into this after Charlottesville and looking at a guy on RT, he talked about how he was white supremacist. He got out of it, and how he said everything with the Proud Boys was nothing more than hate, nothing less than hate. He talks about how when he was in, they would drive hours. They would drive hours to go across the state to go to an event just to be seen. And that's what's reverberating in my mind with the this event in Idaho. One good thing is these guys are going on watch lists. I mean, if it helps, they're going on watch lists. You can be sure if you're caught in a group like that, you're gonna be on a watch list for a long time. And they know what you're into. You're into explosives, or you're into attacking gay groups, whatever. It's concerning because, like, we always think that as society grows, that we move beyond stuff like this. And what this kind of shows you is, no, it doesn't. Even if the people in that community were okay with it, that people like this exist, and they're willing to, come all the way out there to you to attack you. That it doesn't matter if you have permits. It Doesn't matter if you're illegal. Doesn't matter if you're lawful. That these people exist. It's almost as like playing by the rules doesn't really count for anything. Now they're saying that a good Samaritan or somebody called the police, and hopefully that's true. If it's not, and they got intelligence sources, some type of intelligence from people, uh, it's bad. I like to believe it was someone that called because I like to believe that someone's seen it and that the current social mores of society are that I may not like homosexuality, I may not like this, but there's a gay pride rally going on. These guys are obviously going to go do something violent. Let me call police. I'd like to believe that, but more than likely, the police have some kind of intelligence. We know there's a lot of white supremacist stuff in Idaho, and as it is, you have people in these groups who don't agree with violence that aren't police. You have people in these groups who believe in this stuff, but it isn't always cops. Sometimes you have people who derail a movement who they're really mentally ill and like they're really paranoid, and it isn't just about hate. They're really out to fuck some stuff up. And by them doing one stupid thing, it can lead to the whole movement getting destroyed, everybody getting arrested. So you got people in these groups who don't like that. And they're like, look, man. And you got people in these groups who, like, I may not like you and I want to remove you, and I'll get you arrested. You may go to jail for 6 months. You may go to jail, you may get a year. You may even get convicted of your charge. You may go to jail for 6 months and I get convicted of your charge. Nobody got hurt. But by then, I took over the gang. So, we never know. I don't want anybody to believe it's because someone called the police that this is love. I saw a lady at the park. This is love. This is not love. This is not love. This demonstrates we're still in the post-Trump era. This demonstrates how dangerous things are. This demonstrates one thing about Trump when he got in office, and you notice with the Proud Boys, you notice with the groups, he toned down white supremacy. He molded it. And the discussion was that it wasn't about hate. This is about protecting your country and the Constitution. This is about, upholding some type of, idea of white supremacy. That all this was about. All this was in essence about some type of preserving America. What we've seen from Charlottesville to January 6th to what almost happened in Idaho last week, what we've seen is nothing more than hate, nothing less than hate. I mean, they even had a gay guy leading the Proud Boys, and then right after he got arrested, he got indicted. What happened? The group split up, and one of them is openly saying, "Yeah, we're Nazis. Yeah, we're at war with the others." Yeah. So it is good to realize that they growing your hair out, taking the doctor show, putting the docksiders on, wearing khakis. You're still a racist. You're still motivated by hate, and everybody can see that. My concern was always that Trump would somehow be able to move society, and he'd have like a brown shirt type group, like a SA. You had the SS, you had the army, and then you had the brown shirts. And the brown shirts were what Hitler used to go after communists, people he didn't like. Basically, to Hitler used them basically to destabilize German society, to take power. But then once he got power, he killed all of them, landed long knives. And my fear was Trump would do the same thing. That has not happened. A number of them are facing charges now. The Patriot Prayer out there in the Pacific Northwest, a lot of them are facing charges. That's not happened. They have not become legitimate. We understand better now what they are and their motivations than we did before. Um, you know, one thing I learned during this era too is that Americans don't deal with problems. We don't deal with problems. We fail to solve problems, and then we blame it on people. Coronavirus, just the attacks on Asian people, Pacific Islanders, and all that. I worry. I really worry if monkeypox gets worse, if and it's mutating. Several strains exist. If monkeypox mutates and a bunch of people get killed, these reactionary bigots are gonna blame it on gays. It's gonna be open season, and they're gonna be doing some damage in this country. That's my concern. And I think the Uvalde shooting, to me, proved that law enforcement is unable or unwilling to do their jobs when the bullets start flying, and when bodies are in the streets, when there's blood out here. I ain't just talking about riding around in a police car with a pretty uniform on. I'm talking about life or death. I think that these are dangerous times, and I think the most important thing to remember is Trump cultivated this. When they say Trump didn't start war, he didn't have to, but he set things into motion to destabilize society. That was the danger with that. That's the danger with politics. You destabilize society. So you want to see white supremacist groups. They said when he made the comment, Proud Boys, stand back but stand by, membership grew. Because instead of him speaking out against them, he legitimized them. You never do that. You never legitimize type of groups, ever. That was a mistake. I just feel like personally that some of this stuff is on Trump's hands. The blood is on his hands. I just think we have to really recognize with this event in Idaho that this could have been a tragedy. Because what happens if they go out there and them gay folks start fighting and they got to pull a gun and kill somebody? This is how I think. This is how I think right here. What happens if you go out here and you start talking this shit, calling them gay, calling them fags, and slurring them, and one of them men come up there and beat your ass? What happens? Man, so I'm gonna have to shoot him. So now you turned intimidation into murder. 110% preventable shooting because you wanted to be a homophobe, because you wanted to be led by hatred, hypnotized by hatred. I just think that it's a dangerous times, and to acknowledge them as anything less than that is folly. Thanks for listening.